You are now tuned into Beautiful You, Authentic You Radio. Here are your hosts, Irana Tenen and Nakia P. Evans. Beautifully living, authentically in Christ.
Here on Ruach Life radio station. I am your girl, Nakia P. Evans. It is an amazing, rainy, cold November 5th. It's raining here in South Carolina, but it is an awesome time. I'm happy to be here again. I am here with my co-host, Irena Tennant. How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. You know, I'm always excited to be here on Sunday nights. Our show totally rocks, so it's always
Absolutely.
an awesome time to be here. Yep, always. So I'm excited that we have two amazing women with us on today. Our first guest is MJ. MJ Lee, are you here?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
I am awesome, love. How are you doing?
Great. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Yes, we are so glad to have you with us. You were very much a part of the book collaboration that we did, The Woman Behind the Mask book too. So we're going to just talk to you about your story and just hear from you. So tell us a little bit about MJ.
Okay. I'm a single mother of a one teenage boy, and I've just come through quite a lot of things. I sum it up as 3 deaths, a divorce, and a foreclosure in a matter of 5 years. So just really learning and watching God unfold this new life He has for me after feeling literally like a broken clay pot, and just always remind me of the scripture that He's the potter, we're the clay, and just watching Him remold my life and take me into what I feel like is the predestined life He has for me, and just using every day He grants me and bless me to learn from the things that I experience, and watching that scripture come to life, that He works everything for the good of those who love Him, the Romans 8:28, and just really living that right now, and finding my identity. I stumble a little bit because I feel like I really feel like a newborn woman, like I'm a full-grown baby all at the same time. So just excited for the new people He's putting in my life and the things He's showing me that I can do through Him and His powerful presence in my life, and just glad to be who I am and finding out who I am, and no longer kind of ducking in the shadows, being a little, I think I'm the most extroverted introvert that I've come across yet. So just learning to break out from behind the mask, which has been an awesome project to be included in, and really found myself in searching for the words to help other women face off with their things that cause them to hide and step out from behind that mask to be who they were created to be.
Oh, that is awesome. It's funny because I also am introvert, extrovert. And I found that the word for that is ambivert. So
yes.
although I'm very outgoing, sometimes I just rather be with me and a book, or me and a laptop, or me and a phone. I mean, I don't really need people, so I can totally relate to that, being an ambivert. I never knew the word for that till recently, and I was like, oh, wow, that's it. That's me.
I saw that before, but I couldn't think of it. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And
so
as you say, that reminds me of a devotional I'm in the middle of that it's called Whisper, How to Hear the Voice of God by Mark Batterson.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about the very thing you just said about just how important it is to find that quiet time, whatever it is, reading a book or going off by yourself. So it's actually really healthy to have some introvert tendencies if you aren't an ambivert or extrovert. So
I believe that. I believe that because it's also kind of a way to like recharge. Kind of recharge yourself. Just get yourself together. We
yes,
all need
ma'am.
that quiet time. So you were a co-author with me in The Woman Behind the Mask. Share with us a little bit about your story that you shared in the book.
Well, the Face in the Faces is just, I'm notorious. Anybody that knows me, I have stayed in a lot of trouble for always making a face that tell you exactly how I'm feeling. But in actuality, a lot of times those faces weren't even what people assumed them to be. It was just me kind of, and I'm learning a lot of people actually do it. It's just that in my small circle, I stood out, I think, because I did it so much. And so, and facing the project, and talking about the woman coming from behind the mask, it just kind of made me think about that thing that I'm known for, which is facial expressions, because a lot of times I can get lost for words verbally. I'm not quite the public speaker. I can write all day long, but as I speak, sometimes I'll stumble with finding the right words to say to actually express myself. So a lot of times I would just end up making a face, like my initial feeling. And so my family and friends have always teased me about that, or I have found myself in a world of trouble about it, and I wasn't really meaning anything by it. But as I've been in a workplace and different public settings, people read a lot into body language. Mm-hmm. And so being sort of a loner, I didn't really develop I think I'm learning that it's actually a skill to control your body language the same way they say control your mouth. Mm-hmm. And I think that yet again put another layer of a mask on me, because it made me feel some kind of way like I was doing something wrong. But in actuality, as I've been coming into my identity and just being my authentic self, as Nakia so eloquently puts it, it just made me think about some of the faces I made that I kind of scared my own self with, how many faces I could make when my brother the first time my brother kind of faced off with death, and he was very dear to me. We were children of a single parent home, so we really only had each other a lot of times. He was my caretaker when my mother had to work overnight, so he kind of became my father, my best friend, everything. So, and being in the middle of the healing process, as he was one of the people that I lost out of the 3 deaths, I just wanted to express some of me coming out of the shell that those kind of emotional, traumatizing experience kind of put me through. And this kind of started when I was only like 13 or 14 years old. And then he had a couple other experiences, and then this final one when I was 35, which was about 5 years ago now, really made me go back almost like I was a young girl again, and just been reviewing my whole life. So we only had so many words to put into the story, so I tried to concentrate it as much as I could, that anybody out there that has lost a sibling or somebody really close to them, and I'm sure we all have made those crazy faces in the mirror or with each other, our best girlfriend or our favorite aunt, and just ended up laughing and crying together, but to find ourselves overall making each other feel better. I just wanted to remind women of those moments that It feels so hard and so bad, and you can't control your face so much. Again, that body language thing when you go back to work and you got to go to your daily functions, to just be encouraged that God is in control and it's really not the end of the world as it appears to be. In actuality, for me, it's been the beginning of a whole new world. So that was pretty much the motivation behind it, and just hoping that I touched someone's heart, to be a blessing to them, to feel strong and encouraged, to not hide behind the pain or feel like they just want to sleep it away or not be around other people, and not to rob the world of the gift that God made, which is them.
I like that. I do. Now, MJ, one thing that I loved about your chapter is that, you shared all of that. You shared, the experience of losing your brother. You shared about, your father and things like that. But what really got to me was that you used the part about the different faces, and you compared that to faith. And I believe that in the chapter you asked a question. You said, do you know what else have a million muscles like all of those faces you make and have to face in the self-check mirror through every emotional roller coaster in your life? Your faith. And that really stood out to me because we don't necessarily look at it like that. Now, through everything that you have experienced, everything that you shared that you went through, tell us how you were able to strengthen your faith in God.
Well, actually, I feel like it was God strengthening my faith in Him more so. Just showing me and giving me that revelation of all of those faces I was thinking about. I've been saved since I was 9. But the first time I accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of my life, and got rededicated and baptized at 15, and then at a few other ages, going through the different changes of trying to learn how to walk and be more Christ-like in my being, and listening to that still small voice in the different times He set me still to basically check me. I feel like sometimes almost like your mom or your father might pull you by the back of your collar when they catch you doing something wrong, and kind of judge you and say, come here, girl, what is that I see you doing, or such. In those different times, God in His perfect love and ways, and I believe the scripture He gave me in the very beginning of the first my brother, was Isaiah 66:13, where He says, He will comfort you as a mother comforts her child. He just connected and wove all of that together to remind me that through every experience that He's worked it all together for my good. Over the years, I've seen where my faith has become stronger in each trial, whereas maybe when I was younger, I might have gotten to a frenzy, I might have turned to a bad habit, I might have allowed bitterness to be the driving force of my actions, opposed to seeking God's love and peace that surpasses all understanding, and know everything in His word that feeds His spirit within me, to be a better person each day He blesses me with, and try to help other people do the same thing any chance that He says begin to speak through me. And so I just been feeling strengthened and just feeling almost, and then also maybe a lot of people, I'm not sure. I know I have struggled. I was a chubby child, so I have went through the exercise and falling off and going back to exercise, and so all of those different facets just kind of he started bringing them together as I was sitting down trying to, basically asking Him, what would you have me to tell your daughters that needs to be encouraged the way, if they don't have a relationship with you, the way that I've been blessed to have, what would you have me share with them to possibly help them to be encouraged to be stronger in those moments of despair that maybe I know when I read quite a few books, there's different parts of it, or like favorite parts of the movie, your mind will go back to that will be like, wow, I need to remember that. So when he started speaking to me about the whole thing was strengthening someone else's faith, he just kind of brought it together to me that you use a lot of different muscles to make a face. So, and the different endorphins that's released when you walk around frowning, you kind of release negative chemicals in your body, which will actually depress you more. But if you even force a smile, those positive, good endorphins that's actually chemically released. I mean, God just did an amazing thing creating a human being. There's just so many places to go with it. But just try to sum it up for sake of time. He was just talking to me. The Holy Spirit was just talking to me and reminding me of all of those muscles and just compared it to the faith muscles. And it's funny, today I do lift, and I actually picked up this older lady, and she gave me, we were talking about different acronyms, and we were talking about the ego, which stands for easing God out. Well, she gave me one for faith, which was fully accepting in the holy, fully accepting in the holy. And that's, that as we were conversating, she was saying fully accepting in the holy kind of breaks down to just being still and knowing that God is God. And you will find strength there every time you think about his holiness and his greatness and keep him as the center of your focus. And he will do the rest when you lean not to your own understanding, but seek him in all your ways.
Right. I love acronyms. I had a question about body language. Now, I like to watch people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a people watcher, and I like to observe them. And I can tell a lot about a person by their body language. So do you think that people misunderstood you by the body language that you gave out with your facial expressions and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. On a number of occasions, I've been privileged to talk to a couple of people that they were pulling me aside to make me aware of it, but I wasn't even aware, because I'm actually a people watcher too. But it's funny, when you're a people watcher, you don't think there's other people watching you so much.
Right.
And you come to find out that that's not so. There's a lot of people watchers out there. So people that was watching me as I was watching other people, they kind of pulled me aside and was like, your body language kind of says this and your face is saying that. And I'm like, no, I was thinking about something. So I totally disagree with a lot of, some of it, it can prove to be, you can be right sometimes, but in all of the things that I went through with the death, and the tragedy of it and the trauma of it, it actually has made me a lot more sensitive to some of the stuff that people do. Like, one of the things I used to be a real bad pet peeve that I have grew from and learned in this learning season of this is sometimes people get in your way, or they fumbling around and taking too long in the line, and cashiers get impatient, or other people in the line like, what's taking them so long, or why they keep dropping stuff, or they'll cut cross you with their cart and they don't even say excuse me or anything, and you're kind of like, Dad, that was my toe right there, like, I just don't exist. But in going through my time, I was so zoned out and barely functioning, and it felt like God was just trying to carry me through to do different tasks, such as driving or going to the store or being in the store. And I actually became one of the people that was my pet peeve. And so in all of this, I've really learned a lot more patience in those moments that you never know what someone is going through. So their body language could be saying one thing, like they're being careless or they time wasters or they clumsy or whatever you want to assume. But in actuality, they could be going through something very traumatic in their life that they just don't have it all together. And it's like it's been almost a tug and call for more compassion and more patience for people imperfections, and just a reminder of just how patient God is with us when in our imperfections. So it's really been a great teacher of not judging body language and being guilty of people misjudging my facial expressions and body language alike and vice versa. So I definitely don't believe in judging what someone is doing or their intentions of it just by watching them. Sometimes it's fun to try to figure out and think, but not to walk away or treat them in any kind of way, because that's what you, I think he gave me the deception of perception a couple of years ago. A lot of people have a deception of what's going on with someone else because that's their perception of it. We should stop and talk to each other and ask questions and maybe ask the person, are you okay? Not necessarily being nosy, but just genuine concern.
Absolutely. I love that. All right. So, MJ, tell us what's next for you. Do you have any other projects planned? Is there anything that you are launching? What's next for MJ?
Well, right now I've been reading some stuff about trying to start a blog to maybe just start exercising more of publicizing my writing and getting it out to people, because thankfully for you guys that having me on this project is really making the importance of reaching out to other people that may not think the way I think or receive the messages I receive from God. And the way I've been blessed from other people's writings, I may be created to be a blessing to other people in that way. I just basically have been, I'm starting, as I said, in this transition of life. I'm just taking hold that I can be an author, a published author, and help other people through my writings. And that is a way of an avenue of encouraging people. So right now I'm just kind of trying to start a blog and work on a poetry compilation, as I have tons of poems, and just kind of go from there, hopefully network and continue to network with you ladies to grow me into this newfound career. And I'm starting to actually take hold of it actually being a gift. I thought everybody could write, so I didn't think so much of what I could do until you ladies actually introduced me into being more public about it and putting it out there to really be used as a tool to help other women. So just listening and watching God through this transition of my life and stabilizing as when you go through these different traumatic changes, from financial stability to emotional and spiritual stability, it's just a growth process. So I think the main thing I'm focusing on is the blog and possibly the poetry compilation, if not maybe another compilation with women such as yourself that I've been networking with to just get out there and encourage as many people as possible. And I've been running from something that Elder spoke over me at fellowship, which was I should publicly speak to people. I think I want you ladies to pray for me about that one. I'll see what God has.
Okay, we will sure do that. We sure will. And we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share with us and come on our show tonight. We're glad to have you. We're glad to learn more about you. We're glad to introduce you to our listeners and hear more about your story up close and personal. So thank you so much. And everyone else, at this time, we're going to take a break, and then we will come back with our next guest.
Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart's torn in pieces. It's my offering. Take me to the King. Truth is, I'm tired. Options are few. I'm trying to pray, but where are you? I'm all churched out, hurt and abused. I can't fake what's left to do. Come on. Truth is, I'm weak. No strength to fight, no tears to cry. Even if I tried, but still my soul refuses to die. One touch will change my life. Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart's torn in pieces. It's my offering. Lay me at the throne. Leave me there alone to gaze upon your glory and sing to you. Please take me to the King. Whoa. Truth is, it's time to stop playing these games. We need a word for the people's pain. So Lord, speak right now. Let it fall like rain. We're chasing after you. Oh, no rules, no religion. I've made my decision to run to you, the healer that I need. Take me to the King. Don't have much to bring. My heart's torn to pieces. It's my offering. Lay me at the throne. Leave me there alone to gaze upon your glory and to sing to you this song. Lord, we're in the way. We keep making mistakes. Glory not for us, it's all for you. Come on. Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart's torn to pieces. It's my offering. Leave me there. I want to gaze upon your glory. Sing to you. To sing to you this song. Take me to the King. Take me to
All right. Welcome back to You Show. I am so excited that we are here. We had an awesome first time with our first guest, MJ Lee, and it was awesome. And so we are gearing up for our second half. I am here with my co-host, Irena Tid, and you're here, love?
I'm here. Hey.
Hey. All right. So we had an awesome first half, and I'm excited about our second half. And what we're going to do is, I do believe our guest is here. Let's see. Talisha, are you here, love?
I am. Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Awesome sauce. Glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. So glad.
Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you the floor and allow you to introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about Talisha.
Okay, no problem. I am a 37-year-old wife of 18 years with 3 kids. I'm also an identical twin. I was raised in a small country town in Texas by my grandparents my grandfather was a preacher and my grandmother was a teacher. Let's see here. Traditional Southern Baptist church. Very traditional. Very traditional. Let's see. I'm currently working in the medical field, but I'm looking to get out of that soon. In fact, with this that you ladies have allowed me to be a part of, it's really, get out of that, making me step out of my bubble and my comfort zone that I created for myself due to my traditional upbringing. So I'm grateful for that. I realized that a lot of my earlier views and behaviors, in fact, through penning my chapter for this, I realized a lot of my earlier views and behaviors were shaped by that traditional upbringing. And I discovered that, it's a difficult thing when you really realize that you've been wearing a mask, especially when, you think that you're walking in authenticity. It's really disturbing. So I've taken this opportunity to even go deeper into that and discover more things about myself. And I'm telling you, Nakia, I really want to thank you for being true to your calling and listening to the voice of God, because it's really been helpful in my life. And I know that some of the women that have purchased that book, it's really been helpful for them as well. So I did want to take that time to just thank you and Irena for the opportunity with that. And it's also, trickled down to my twin, actually, because she had the same upbringing that I had. And, you really just think that, what you've learned as a child is concrete, is gold, is what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to live. But, through the series of the Woman Behind the Mask series, it's there, the writing that's there, it kind of gives you that, that push, that insight that you need to kind of get out of that bubble, get out of that, that being stuck, basically. So she is even embracing, some things from this book. So I really wanted to just, before I, because Irena knows I can talk. So before I, went into all that, I just wanted to make absolutely sure that I thank both of you for that platform, because it's a wonderful, wonderful platform, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. But yeah.
Well, I'm just glad that you said yes.
Finally.
Right.
Because I know how to run, child. I know how to run.
See, what people don't know is I've known Talisha about, what has it been, like 14 years? Has it been 14 years?
How old is Izzy? Almost 15. Almost 15
years I've known her. We never met in person.
Never.
But I've known her for almost 15 years, and I know her very well. And I've been trying to push her to do, and she didn't want to. No, I'm not ready. No. So finally, she did it, and I'm so proud that she followed through and shared her story. So tell us a little bit about what your story was about.
Well, it's about, of course, the traditional upbringing and the fact that one thing that stood out, even as I was writing it, and actually this story was not the first story I wrote. It wasn't. It was actually the third, because I kind of, I kind of tried to tailor what I said out of worrying about offense and, will this happen and will that happen? But then, I was like, but you're still, if you do that, you're still walking in behind that mask. Take it off. Take it off.
Right.
And so my story is about really just being truthful with yourself, just finally just getting down to the nitty-gritty and saying enough is enough. And I tell how I was walking in unawareness. I was I was raised in the church. Like, I was there more than I was at home. I was there more than I went outside. We were always in the church, And what stood out to me is the fact that I didn't even know at 21 whether or not I was saved or not. I didn't even know. I had no idea. I had been baptized. I had went through the whole, traditional things in church and all that. I've done all of that, and I still did not know at 21. And by this time, I was a mother and a wife, and I had no idea whether or not I was saved. I just did not know. Mm-hmm. And so through a series of events, I met a lady at my job. She asked me, was I saved? And because I didn't know, she said, well, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that right now. And I became saved, and I don't think I really truly understood what that meant even then. But all I knew is whatever it was, I wanted it, because I just wanted it. I didn't know, but I wanted it. And then I started going to a different type of church, non-denominational. And I was introduced to a new thing, a new way to look at Scripture, a new way to even having a relationship with God. I really don't think I had one until then. And so I talk about that in the book. I talk about, how God was speaking to me through dreams, and, even after all of that, I still, because I was very conflicted. Even with the new knowledge and the new experiences. I was still conflicted because that traditional church life bubble, I was so used to staying in it. And so here I am in this whole new world without the crutch of, grandparents and, that the traditional church home. I'm out here what felt like by myself, getting all this knowledge. And because it was so contradictory to what I was used to, I didn't know what to do with it. I really didn't. I didn't know what to do with it. All I knew is that it was something new, and, it lit something in me that I wasn't familiar with, this feeling and, all this new information, and I ran with it. But as I was running, I was still apprehensive. And then when God started speaking to me and telling me, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and like I said, it totally contradicted what I was taught. I was telling God, not me, not me. I can't do that. They said I can't. They said you won't. They said, they said I can't do that. They said that's what they teach. No. So, I can't make them mad. I can't go against what they said. I can't do this. I can't, and so I ran. I'm telling y'all, I ran so hard and so fast and so far. I ran. But in that running and in that almost, turning away from what God wanted me to do, I was not I just didn't feel, I wasn't happy. I wasn't, like, I lost all my joy because I was so conflicted. I was so confused. It just, I was just going through the motions day in, day out. But I was I would say I was in a state of depression. I really was, because here's a person that was introduced to this big God in a whole different way, and, finally realizing that his will for my life was not the will that other people had for my life, and his will for my life was so much greater than I could even imagine, so much greater than I could even, dream. But I still had those traditional shackles on. I'm like, I didn't know how to function. I didn't know what to do at all. I remember taking it to my grandfather and telling my grandfather, I was just having a conversation with him and just kind of letting him know, God really has other plans for me. It's not just playing the piano in church. It's not just being over a youth choir. Not saying that those things are bad, but that's not all God had for me to do. God wanted me to speak to women. God wanted me to go to different churches. This is what God wanted me to do. And I'll never forget, we were sitting in my car, and he looked at me, he said, my nickname is TC, y'all. He said, no, TC, no, that's not correct. And I remember him going to tell my grandmother, I think we have a problem. I think she's ready to preach. And so, with that was like a blow. That was a blow. And because I'm like, now I'm grown. Now I'm a woman, and you could brush it under the rug and make it something else when you're a kid, But now I'm a woman, and I've been exposed to different things. So, and you have to know, you have to see a difference. But here it is, and this is not like, a bashing or anything like that. This is just how we can become so stagnant and stuck in our ways and our thinking that we end up we put limits on God, and that's what happened. And I was crushed. I was crushed. I was like, I just needed that support. I wanted that support, not thinking to myself, you got all the support you need. And at that time I just wasn't in that state of mind. But what I did was I ended up functioning in that uncertainty, and it just created a lot of confusion in my life. And in the book I talk about running into this one particular individual, this lady in the beauty supply store. And I didn't know this lady from a hole in the wall, had never laid eyes on her before. And she came up and prophesied to me and told me, God is telling her that I'm in this dark hole, and he's going to bring me out. Just trust him. Everything is fine. Everything's going to be okay. It's all right. You can walk in his. She went from A to Z like we had a phone conversation every day. And this put me in more awe of God because, remember, I'm from, a traditional upbringing, so this right here, I'm not, I wasn't used to. So now I'm like, okay, you really are amazing, God. You really are. Here's this woman that doesn't know me, yet it seems like she does. She's speaking everything that, I'm going through. She knows. How can she know? She doesn't know from me. She has to know from you. And so that put me in more awe of God. And so with her, I instantly latched on. First of all, I was looking for someone to say, okay, it's fine, and then, I was really like, searching what I realized now, looking for God in the whole situation, because I'm like, okay, nobody else, no one's here. Nobody is here. So when that happened, I immediately latched on. And from that day forward, I started walking into my purpose. Well, what I thought at that particular time was my purpose. And what I realized is I just wanted permission. And so, I began to minister and do Bible study and, all types of things that, I was not allowed to do, at the traditional church. And so one day we were at Bible study, and I remember her telling me that she had some news to deliver, and it wasn't going to be good news, but, it had to be delivered. And that night I found out that they were moving, and, she wasn't going to be in Texas anymore, and I did at that point in time, because I learned how to put on several masks at my grandfather's church. I learned how to do, the happy, nothing is going on mask, and everything is okay, and I learned that everything I learned in traditional church. I knew how to put on the front, so. I was like, okay, it's fine. But inside, I was really just panicking. I was like, oh no. If she leaves, then what? Not even knowing that, or even thinking, I'm giving these Bible studies. I'm sitting with them and praying and doing everything that, I'm thinking God wants me to do. And I'm like, for myself, I couldn't do it. I couldn't encourage myself. I couldn't pray for myself. It's almost like I was two different people, And so I'm like, oh no, she's leaving. I'm not going to be able to do any of this. She's leaving. And so from that day forward, I got mad at God, and I speak about it in the book. And I'm like, God. And I remember telling Irena, I was acting like, I was mad at God saying, he's playing with me, like he doesn't have anything else better to do. He's playing with me. I was fine. I was fine in my hole. You should have left me in my hole. I was okay. But here you come giving me hopes, bringing somebody in my corner, giving me that support that I needed. Okay, I'm done. I'm finished. I was so mad at God, but I didn't realize it went to that extent until I was on the phone with someone, and they asked me, and I talk about it in the book, do you trust God? And it's one thing to sing about it. It's even one thing to read the scriptures on trusting God. It's one thing, to be asked that question and to honestly sit there and think about it and return with the answer of no. All these years singing the songs, preaching the message, all these years, hearing the message, and here it is, I don't trust him. That, coupled with her departure, coupled with all the questions I had, it spiritually, it killed me. It did something to me spiritually. Because I'm like, how could I not trust him? And then I started questioning myself, and, I didn't have any answers. And then, I didn't want to see God. I didn't want to. Why? Because I'm mad at him. So, of course, I don't even want to have this conversation, with him. I'm mad. So I was in limbo, angry, in limbo, depressed, in limbo, not even knowing what to do. I was in limbo, and so, but nobody knew, because that good old mask was on tight. Nobody knew. And so I had that mask on tight. I'm telling you, I was tight. And I was like, you know what? I can't live like this. I can't do, because for me, saying the words, no, I don't trust him, it was almost like, an out-of-body experience. Is this me? Am I really saying this? And I'm like, I can't be here. How am I here? How am I sitting right here? And, I realized that, all of my yeses, all of my, yes, God, I'll do this, yes, God, I'll do that, yes, I'll do that. It wasn't because, God, I absolutely trust you with my life. I absolutely trust you. I trust your word. That wasn't it. It was because, I had already placed conditions on my yes. I'll do it. I'll do it as long as I have somebody right here telling me I can do it. I'll do it as long as I have somebody right here holding my hand and giving me permission. I'll do it. I sure will. But the minute the situation changes, God, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. The minute it doesn't look like I think it's supposed to look, I'm not doing it anymore. So once I realized that that's what I was doing, I realized I was telling God no. I actually was telling him no. I mean, through the connection of this lady, I started the Greater She Women's Ministry, and and the motto for that was walking in purpose on purpose, and helping women come out, of their bubbles, their shells, and walking in their purpose. But God had to deal with me. He had to deal with me. I didn't see it. I didn't see it until then. I didn't see it. I thought, okay, yeah, we're going to do this, God. We're going to do this. We're going to, But the minute things got shaken up, the minute things were not perfect for me, I was out. And I talk about it in the book. I also talk about, my anger and fear and, all of that. And I really realized that it's hard to function in his will when you don't trust him. I mean, how do you function? How do you do it? How do you really walk in your purpose when you're not even being real with yourself? And I thought I was doing everything right based on, I'm not doing it the way that, that I know will keep me stuck. Traditionally, I'm outside the box. I'm non-denominational. So, of course it's right. Of course, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But at the end of the day, and this is what I encourage people to do, get still. Be still and listen. When you start listening, really truly listening to God, really truly, letting it all soak in, then it's time to get real. Get truthful. Get truthful with yourself. And then once you get truthful with yourself, you're able to, shake all of the rest of that, confusion and that noise off. When you know that you're living a lie, you're not being real. If you have a problem with that, like I did, I had a real issue knowing that I wasn't being real. I had a real issue knowing that I was speaking to women and, encouraging them to do this and do that, and telling them to follow God and trust God and do this. I had a real issue with that, being that I wasn't really, truly, authentically doing that myself. I had an issue with that. And so once I got real, once that question was posed to me and I really got real with everything, that's when I knew I can't do it. I can't sit here and walk in my purpose and basically be a hypocrite. Is what I was doing. I can't be a hypocrite. How can I tell one woman to trust God, and I'm sitting here and I don't even believe the scripture I'm telling her, the prayer I'm saying? I don't even believe that for myself. I don't believe it. So once I got quiet, I was able to get truthful, and then here y'all come with this book. So now I got to get ready. But even in writing this chapter for the book, I'm telling y'all, it was a battle. It was a battle because the enemy wasn't, and he's still not. But at that point in time, I tell y'all, it was so much conflict with me. And I had all these truths in front of me. I had them all in front of me, and I was still battling. I think I spoke with you, Nakia. It was so difficult. It was so difficult, but I knew it had to get on paper. It had to get on paper. But at first, I was, kind of skirting around things and, saying this one way and saying it another way. And then I wrote a poem. I was like, okay, I'll just do this. But I'm telling y'all, God, I prayed. I told Nakia, pray for him. Just pray for me. I was battling. God said you have to go forth. You have to go forth. And so even when I was writing the stuff on the page, I called a friend. I was like, I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I want to do it, but I'm scared. I won't lie. I'm scared. I'm scared out of my mind because now it's getting real. It's real. It's the real deal. I can't, say, oh, well, yeah, I believe, I trust, and I can't be phony anymore now that it's in my face. I can't be phony. I was trying to be, I'll be honest with you both. I was really trying to be. My first 2 attempts, they were not real at all. They weren't. And she told me, she said, you know what you do is scared. Because fear is not of God. It's not of God, but it was present. It was present. It was there. And either I had a choice. Either I could lace back up and run, or I could stand firm and tell Satan, no, not this time. Not this time. No, not this time. God's will is going to happen. And I'm telling y'all, I typed and I typed and I typed, and I did it with shaking fingers. I did it with a racing mind, but I stopped. And I said, God, I need you to get me through this. Just get me through it. If you get me through it, God, I know after that I truly can do all things through Christ. I can do it. But right now, the enemy, he didn't want it. He didn't, not from me, and he still doesn't. But with this book, with this opportunity, I'm telling y'all, it has given me a newfound strength in God. You know, it's one thing to, like I said, say it. You know, I can do all things, but it's another thing to truly believe it, truly know it. And after this experience, I know. I know it. I know it now without a shadow of a doubt.
Good. That's good. And you know what? And that's exactly what it's about. I love your story. I love, just being able to have you a part of the book, and it's powerful just being able to hear you talk about, what you shared and your experience. I mean, I know all about the whole traditional upbringing. Trust me, I'm a PK in every sense of the form. I have nothing but preachers around me. And so, I was, brought up in that environment as well. And so when you're exposed to something different, you're like, wait a minute, God, wait a minute, this is different. This is not what I'm taught. But, one thing that I can say is that I'm thankful for it, and I'm thankful that, God was able to show you a different way, to bring you out to where you needed to be. So I'm grateful, and I thank God for that. It's been an honor to have you on this project and an honor to have you on the show. Just for us to be able to hear from you, for our audience and listeners to be able to hear, we were truly blessed. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'm appreciative, too. I thank both of you for being there for me in this whole process. I really appreciate you both.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I thank God for what he's doing, and that's one thing I can say. I thank God for the connections, I thank God for, just opening doors. And, here you talk, honey, I have no doubt that, God is going to open many, many doors for you and put you in places that, you sometimes you never dream of, you know what I'm saying? And that's just the God that we serve. He's just that good. He's just that good. So I do want to say thank you, love, for being here, for taking time out to be with us. We greatly enjoyed it. And, just having you here was amazing. And can you let us know how our listeners can stay in contact with you before we close out?
Sure. I'm on Facebook at Talisha Volter. I am on Instagram at Ms. Anchored Soul. I have a website coming, and I'll get the information to you, Nakia and Irena. Also, my email address is T.Volter, V like Victor, OLTER, @gmail.com.
All right, awesome sauce. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. We greatly enjoyed it. Was greatly, greatly blessed. And, I pray many blessings and open doors for you and all that God has for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Irena, another awesome episode tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, it's been amazing. So we're happy that everyone was here. Thank you to all our listeners. If you're catching the replay, I do want to shout out my friend Adrienne Nicole, who was listening, and I saw her post. So thank you so much for sharing and supporting everybody who's listening on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope. If you're listening, calling in, listening on online, or just hearing the replay, thank you so very much. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you tune in every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for an awesome episode of the Beautiful You, Authentic You radio show. Is there anything you would like to say, Irena, before we close out?
No, just as usual, thank them all for calling in each Sunday night. Be sure to share our show, same time, same channel, every week. Just call in, tell your friends, family, everybody. And thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to spend it with us.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed Sunday night. All right, later.